Hey everyone, my name's Kamela from Creative Moms Decant. It has been a busy day around here and I am ready to do some crafting. Let's jump in.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me.
So we are creating shaker UV resin molds for keychains or magnets. So there's quite a few. The two unique ones are this star and this seashell. And they're just unique because they're a little bit thicker area. So you can tell that the star and the shell come off. So I wanted to show you those. And the rest of these are, traditional shaker molds. So I've created this one. I've created a couple more why I've been learning too. But basically they have a flat basic part of the mold, and then they have a part that looks confusing. And I'm going to show you the best way to fill and make these work for putting things inside. I put some vacation sand in the hourglass mold, and I tell you, I can't put it down. These are so fun. You could use a small drill bit and drill a hole. It may crack, but it is possible to do that. Or you may add magnets to these, and how fun for them to be on your refrigerator for kiddos to play with. Just fun little trinkets mostly, but we could definitely use these as magnets or keychains. So let me show you how you work with these molds. This kit also came with popsicle sticks, some pointers, and 2 syringes. I've got one over here that I've been playing with my vegetable glycerin. So the first thing you want to do is fill the molds with your resin. They are working just fine with my UV resin, which I'm super excited about because sometimes molds don't work well with UV resin. They also work just fine with epoxy, and I am happy with the price I paid for these molds and how they're turning out for fun shakers. So I'm going to go ahead and finish filling this one, and I'm going to fill this one as well. When you fill this one, you want to use the side that has this little notch, okay? And you want to fill the whole thing, including this notch. So I prefer these to be clear. If you do them colored, it's hard to see your shaker, but this one is going to have a little bit of a iridescent glitter in it, and then we'll fill it. So I'm going to get this done, and we'll be right back to show you how I seal it. All right, so these are full of resin, I think, but we need to double check and look for air bubbles. They did send these wood tools with the kit, and I have liked this real sharp point, but when I'm having to move resin around, I am using my, well, not like that, my resin brushes. These were my old ones, and I am trying a little bit different ones, so you'll have to hit subscribe to see if I like them. It's still new. These were starting to wear, and I was finding that the wood handles with sticky hands kept coming off. So some of my wood handles are really, and of course I probably threw them away, but are really rough. And so I'm trying another kind. They were very affordable. So if I take this little pointer and I poke down at any air bubbles, that is my favorite way to get them out. You do need to really watch, come on air bubble, for your corners and by where, so this piece is going to adhere so that you have a shaker, and around where that's at in your mold, so for this one it's this top corner, air bubbles really wanted to create. And if you don't get them out, there is a chance that when you fill your shaker, it will all leak out. So nobody wants to have a shaker that's sending sand or glitter anywhere. So make sure you get all of those out. So I'm going to work these for a little bit, and basically I'm just going to take this and I kind of pull those air bubbles to the top and pop them and make sure everything is level. So I do have a little bit of a indentation, and not an indentation, but a rise in my mat. So I'm going to make sure I keep these flat. And the other thing you're going to notice when I put these in for the light, I'm going to not lift them and set them on the lights tray. I'm going to take my light off and put it over. So let's just get this finished up, poking air bubbles. And if you want to add a little glitter, you can do that at this point, and just pay attention to what you're going to do for the shaker because it will show. So what I mean by that is on this one, the outside of and the stem, the outside edge and the stem of this wine glass are not going to be part of the shaker. So I could carefully place in some glitter on the sides of those areas if I wanted, or you can leave it. The other thing I want to tell you is you need to be very careful with glitter and UV resin, period, but glitter and molds. And you need to also be aware that once you start using glitter on these silicone molds, it's fine. However, you'll have to use soap and water to keep them from getting glitter on them. So I was going to use this one completely clear, but I had a little bit of leftover glitter that I did not use soap and water and clean my mold for before I got too excited to show you. So that is going to show through when you seal this up. You know, that glitter will hook to this. If it's on the inside of the mold, the glitter will show. So I decided to just go ahead and add some glitter and make it look like I did it on purpose, right? So I'm just doing mostly the very outside edge of this so that you can definitely see where I add my contents to make this a shaker. So outside edge, and I definitely did my little seal piece. All right, so I am going to take that toothpick and push that in, and then do one more check for air bubbles, and then it goes underneath the light for a full 99 seconds, and we'll check back. So after the first 99 seconds, the top will be sealed, but you want to flip these over, including this one, flip them over and go another 99 seconds.
With an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine with your reflection.
All right, so the second 99 seconds has now stopped, and you want to kind of peel these slow, but you can see, you'll be able to tell it's working, and then just continue to peel slow until you get the center unmolded, making sure that everything has hardened. If it hasn't, just put it back under. I did have one that didn't, but most of them, 99 seconds each side, have sealed completely. So the next thing I do here is grab a nail file and just file up the edges really gently, because it is not hard. This piece really isn't hard either. They're thin and a little bit moldy right now still, so, you know, bendable. So just be careful, but a light nail file will actually clean these edges up just fine. So I just run that nice and soft all the way around to clean up my edges. And especially that chunky glitter area, because those chunky glitters will lay over the edge and hold. So you just want to clean up your edges so that everything is clean. So you've got two options on the next step. You can go ahead and seal this together and then add things through the hole that it leaves right here, where we're going to unmold this. I forgot. And where we're going to put that little piece in. or you can fill some now. I have done both ways. I have found that it's easier to start some filling now. So usually I say glitters that come in kits are kind of, well, Dollar Tree kind of glitter, okay? However, on this set, I actually found, especially these holographic glitters, were not terrible for a kit. But typically when you buy a kit, you buy them for the molds, right? Or at least I do. So I am mixing a little bit of the holographic chunky glitter and a little bit of this other red glitter. And then just for fun, I'm going to throw in a few of my iridescent sprinkles here. Whoop! Or lots. So I will tell you that you actually do want to place in more glitter than you think. When I did the sand in the hourglass, I layered it completely full, or what I thought. And as you can tell, so I layered one half completely what I thought was full. And as you can tell, the sand is only about halfway this way. So when you lay it out, it looked like it was going to be full, and I would recommend an overfill for the hourglass, at least on one side, so that you have plenty. My husband did mention that that's an awful quick hour, and he's right, but it's so fun to play with. Okay, so once you've added in your glitters here, I'm going to do a check underneath and see, yes, okay, so woo, and spill glitter everywhere, right? I'm going to add just a pinch more of this red. I definitely want it to have the red. And then we're going to seal the top. So to do that, you take your UV resin around the edge. I start on this piece and do a nice thick coat all around this edge here. So don't skimp. I mean, you don't really want to overdo it either, but you can clean up the overspill much easier than you can deal with an unsealed blank, especially if you're going to add liquid, which you can to these, and I have, but then you've got to get a really good seal. So I am really putting a full layer of resin all the way over the blank here so that I have nothing missed, none of my edges. And then either side of this mold works. I did find that one side was a little bit grooved and I placed it down, but either way works. All right, so you just kind of want to squish this down lightly and line it up. And then you are ready to place this underneath your light. Just make sure it's lined before you turn that light on, because of course we're going to seal here. I also just used my fingers. You could use a gloved finger too, but to run around the edges with the UV resin and just ensure that it's all cleaned up and looking good. So once I'm happy with the placement, it goes under the UV light for 99 seconds again. All right, so that has sealed one time. And you can actually kind of check where you want your glitter and how things are looking at this point. Woo! And don't do that. So I have a good combination here. I do want a little bit more of the red glitter, so I'm going to try to squeeze it in, and you'll see why you really want to fill these before, because getting all the glitter to go in is actually kind of tricky, though that went fairly well for what it's been doing, but you want to kind of be careful. So there's not a whole lot of glitter in this kit, but there is a good array of colors, and it does make it super fun. I'm going to add just a little bit more. That's what I mean. So when you think it's full, it's really not when you shake it down. So just keep that in mind. Oh, and it's so hard to add afterwards. Fill them as full as you want them before. So the next step is to get your little piece in, and it is best to kind of line it up and see which way it fits before you UV resin. So this one is going to go like this, and now I want to add my UV resin, and I just shake down all that glitter. If you're adding liquid, which you can at this point, that's where the syringes come in handy. I'll add a little liquid so that so you can see that. So I have a little bit of water in this mug, and I just sucked up a little bit of water, and I'm going to mix it with the vegetable glycerin. The vegetable glycerin and the water together make a nice flow. So if you've done the snow globe cups, that's kind of where this method comes from. So it's about a 50-50 mixture for these. That's what I've been doing, and it's been working out great. And I have not worried about filling them completely. You can also add resin colorants, and that's a super fun way to spice these up. So stir that in so it's mixed. I'm going to grab my syringe and start placing this inside. And after I place a little bit, you can use this little stick that they sent with the kit to kind of help it combine. So I'm just using it to kind of mush my glitter and my glycerin and water mixture together. And then we can add more. The edges are going to get messy in this process, but I have not had issues as long as I was really careful to make sure plenty of UV resin seals up this hole. So I'm going to continue adding my liquid. I'm going to have to hold it kind of sideways to get all of it that I want in there, all the way to that top. And then UV resin. And you do have to kind of work quickly because the UV resin is heavier than the water glycerin mixture, but like I said, I haven't had an issue as long as I was ready to place. And then you seal those. Definitely make sure the edges of that get sealed. And sometimes I've done that twice. I've also found that it's easiest to kind of hold this under for a minute so that it doesn't slide. So I just start my light and I'm holding it straight up over my light. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to cover that up again. And we'll be right back after 99 seconds of this curing. After the first 30 or so, you can drop it down. It will be fine. So if you have anything leaking, which sometimes you do, you just add a coat of UV resin and then just place it back underneath the light and cure that part. If you're leaking on the edges, and you may lose a little bit of liquid if you are leaking a lot, so sometimes you could test these with water and then dump them out, fix your holes, and then put in your product. By doing that, you'll have to add the product all to the hole, which is fine. I just like to get some in when it's an easy dumping surface. So you'll just continue to check, make sure you have no holes. You can also do a squeeze, and it will definitely let you know. All right, our shaker wine glass is complete. Aren't these fun? These molds all have worked just fine. The only ones that I have not played with, but I will soon, are that seashell and star that are a little more 3D. But every single one of the shaker molds are working. I am having so much fun making these, and what a fun keepsake for some sand from vacation and fun magnets to play with on your refrigerator. I am absolutely loving making shakers with the resin, and the glitter in this, as you can see in the camera, is actually not bad at all for kit glitter. That's all I have for you today. Have a joyful day, friends. Bye.
With an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings, but now I shine with your reflection.